All right. Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got a feeling that something ain't right. Hello and welcome to Old Faithful. I'm your host, Matt Trask. Thanks to Steve for making us look good down here at Perfect Wave Productions. Remember to call Perfect Wave Productions for all of your live sound reinforcement needs, and I should have that number available. Maybe I'll put it on at the end of the video. Please support my friends at Black Hills Blend Espresso. Thank you to my studio audience, which includes my two daughters, Hattie Jo and Grace Ann Trask. Before we get started, I want to point one thing out. For 2 years, there has been a gorgeous amber PRS Johnny Highland signature model guitar hanging on the wall behind me. It is now gone, but we're not sad about that. The incredible Bodie Lindy bought it. It had been here 2 years and he bought it. He assures me he's going to keep this guitar and play it for a while because that young man seemed to be on a quest to play every guitar in the world. And he was doing a pretty good job. Perfect Wave Productions, by the way, seems to be having a fire sale on instruments. Incredible deals down here on instruments. Please like, share, and support this video and support my friends at Black Hills Blend Espresso. That is quite enough. I am so incredibly excited to have this guy on the show who kind of stayed out of my radar for way too long. Mr. Jason Guthmiller, it is nice to have you on the show.
It's an honor to be here, man. Thanks.
First of all, it's somewhat obscured by your guitar, which I don't mind at all, and your $9 Amazon strap. But love pedal, right off the bat, our shirt screams guitar nerd.
Kinda,
So
yeah.
we're going to have a lot of fun.
Well, I think we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you go ahead and tell us about you, all about you,
Okay.
with emphasis on your musical journey.
Wow. Where do you want me to start?
Oh, at the beginning.
At the beginning.
You know.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Aberdeen, South
Okay.
Dakota, East River. And I grew up listening to a pretty expansive country music collection of my parents.
Oh.
Lots of LP records, and I was pretty young when I got into those. And so we watched Hee Haw a lot.
Right.
And I was a big fan of Roy Clark and Buck and all that. So I decided I wanted to try it and play some guitar. And so they arranged for me to have lessons at Ingle Music to get started. The guy's name was Dick Rossi, I believe, that was giving lessons down there.
Okay.
And I think I was 8, maybe, or so, and went to one lesson and came back. I'm like, you know what? That's not for me. I'm not. He wants me to read music and all this stuff, and I'm not. I'm just not interested. My dad's an easygoing guy, and he said, "Oh well, guess you could probably find something else to do." And my mom said, "No way. You're sticking with it." So we bought this little guitar that I brought. I still have my first guitar for $55 from a family friend, and I went to lessons. Yeah, I went to lessons for 2 or 3 years at Ingle.
At Ingle Music?
Yep.
The same guy the whole time?
Yeah.
Dick Rossi, we believe, was his name?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep, and then I think I don't know if he went to drive a Pepsi truck or something. But anyways, I didn't, at that time, I just didn't go back after he left, and then we moved to Wyoming shortly after.
Oh, okay.
And so, and I didn't play guitar for a couple years.
Okay.
And when we got there, it was a small town and there wasn't a whole lot to do.
Sure.
So I decided we were in Gillette one day and there was a music store, had an electric guitar for sale, and a little amp, just a little beginner practice combo. And I begged for that and I got it. And we found someone that could give lessons that lived in Gillette. Even though I was living 40 miles away, we drove every Saturday up there and got some lessons. And that guy's responsible. Mike McLaughlin was his name. And he was responsible for turning me on to some of the great rock players of the time. And that was probably in 1981.
Okay. So going back a little bit, you had gone to one lesson with, we believe his name is Dick Rossi. Mm-hmm. You were like, I'm not going to do that. He wants me to read music. He wants me to discipline. Your dad's like, cool. Your mom's like, no, not cool. You're going back. Did you and Mr. Rossi come to some sort of an arrangement? Did he teach you to read music?
He did.
Did you come to love the discipline? At all? Or?
Not so much.
Not so much?
But I really did like the feel of the guitar, and I liked being able to make music with it.
All right.
You know, so I think I made it through a couple of those old Mel Bay books and could play a few things.
I see.
And I think what really got me was when it got to the end of one of the books and there was a Boogie Woogie, you know, and I think at first it was, you know, just on the page.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I just played that and I've heard that a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And so that lit a fire.
Okay.
It's made me want to play more.
So this here was your first guitar, and it is, as we can all see. Well, no, is this a steel string guitar?
No, nylon.
Nylon string, classical guitar. Did you play it with a pick anyway?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at 8 years old, we can do that. So then we moved out to near Gillette, Wyoming, and Mike McLaughlin. Do you remember any other details of that? So it would have been an 80-mile round trip journey on Saturday.
Yep.
To go. So one of your parents took about half a day to make sure you had guitar.
My mom, because she was
Your
the one
mom?
that, she's, you know, even when I had that, she made me come home from school and practice every
So
day.
we really can thank your mom for what a musical savant you are today.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. So was it just you and Mom, or were there other people? Did you
No, just her. She drove me up there.
Tasty freeze if you did a good job or anything?
Maybe the McDonald's on Highway 59 there.
McDonald's
I
on
don't know.
Highway 59. There you go.
But yeah, Mike was also the music teacher at my grade school, and that's kind of how I got to know that he played guitar.
Okay.
And he would make me these cassette tapes of, you know, like mix tapes, and like here's some important things that you should maybe listen to. And so on some of those things were some Dire Straits and and Steve Howe and just a lot of interesting, you know, what he thought were great guitar guys of the day.
Okay.
And so that turned me on to things that I didn't know, because I was kind of at that point I was into Kiss and Van Halen and AC/DC, and you know, and that was about it.
Nothing wrong with them.
No, not at all. But I wasn't going to play like any of those guys at the time. So it was good to have an outlet for someone to teach me what else was out there.
Right. So your first electric rig you described as a beginner electric rig. Do you remember anything more about it?
It was a K.
A K guitar.
Yep. Okay. Black and white, had one pickup and then the little thumb wheel bridge, so you can raise it up and down. Okay. And of course I messed with everything on it.
Sure.
All the time. Yeah. And then the amplifier was a solid state Marlboro. I think it was a little 6-inch speaker.
Okay.
And if you turned it up all the way, it would break up.
Right.
You know.
So looking back, I ask this question quite often. Do you remember that sound fondly, and kind of have you tried to chase that sound to some degree? No. It was pretty bad.
I remember the action being, you know, about a half-inch off the neck, and it was hard to play. Right. And the tones just weren't there no matter what I did. Yeah. And I was experimenting with just about anything. I would plug it into my home stereo and try to, you know, dial up some fuzz type sounds, which you could do at the time. Right. But I had a friend that I had never had a pedal, and I had a buddy that got a phaser, an Ibanez, the old 9 series or whatever, with the big silver button. And I was like, oh, wow, this adds a whole new dimension. Sure. I can stomp on this thing. Yeah, right. And I've been pedal happy ever since. Sure. So was that a pedal with an actual cord? Do you remember? That had a battery compartment.
Oh, it did have a battery compartment.
This was probably 82, 83.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Yep. And I had an original tube screamer at that time too, but that didn't do it for me. That wasn't right. Yeah. I wasn't chasing that sound at all. Sure. So like, I'm get rid of this. Well, I regret that. I mean, those are great pedals. Again,
you really shouldn't have done that. But again, a classic example of before they were classics.
Exactly.
It was just a pedal.
Yeah. I wanted more gain.
Hadn't been invented. Yes.
Well, he did. You know, actually, the same friend that had the phaser turned me on to Stevie Ray. Okay. And he gave me a copy of Texas Flood, which I loved. And I always really respected and appreciated him. But I was just after way more high gain stuff at the time. I wanted to be metal. You know, at the time.
Yeah. So we're taking lessons from Mike McLaughlin, and we're getting into more eclectic electric players. Did we soon graduate to a better electric rig?
I did.
Did we start playing in bands?
Yep. So took a trip to Denver with my parents, and I saw a Stratocaster on I think it was in Littleton, Colorado. Okay. And it was just a Japanese Strat. Okay. And man, I had to have it. You know, it was an upgrade for me, and so I begged, and they said, "Well, you're going to need to get a job when you get back and pay for this thing.
Right.
So I said, okay. And I did.
Right.
I did. I took that back. And at about that same time, a magazine called Guitar for the Practicing Musician came out. And I still have a couple of those original first copies of that.
All right.
I subscribed to that for, my gosh, the next 10 years or so.
Sure.
And learned what tablature was all about, because after Mike moved away, that teacher, I had no one.
Right.
And so that was my only outlet, was to get that once a month. And man, I couldn't wait to get to the post office and get that copy of that magazine.
Oh, sure.
To learn the hits of the day. And,
oh, sure. You bet.
And try to struggle through, some of those classic songs.
I see. So this guitar, this Strat, was it a Fender Japanese Strat, or it wasn't a Tokai or a Greco?
No, it was a Fender.
It was a Fender Japan. And what was our next amplifier?
Oh, let's see. Mike, before he moved, he must have taken a different teaching job. I really don't remember. Sold me an Ampeg V4.
Oh, wow.
Head and a big cabinet. I think it was a 212 cabinet on wheels. Wow. Yeah, it had no cloth on it, so I made my own. I had a jungle tiger or something on it. because I was metal,
It was very metal. Yes. Awesome. What color was our Fender Japan Strat?
Black.
It was black.
Maple neck, yeah.
It was a blacky looking guitar. Mm-hmm. There you go. So tell us about your first band, or your first failed band. Or...
My first band was with one of my best friends, Ed Mealy and Pat Wilder. We had a little band called Strutter.
Okay.
Named after a Kiss song.
Perfect. Yeah, sure.
And we were a 3-piece. We were probably 14, 15 maybe when we did that. And when we played little gigs around the area there, and at some of the bars, I was playing pretty young.
Oh, yeah.
I think our first paying gig that we got, we knew 20 songs.
Okay.
And we went to Hot Springs and played at some mansion on the hill. It was a friend of the bass players.
Wow.
And we played for, I think it was $100 and a case of beer.
Nice.
And we played the songs that we knew, I think, twice.
Sure. Detroit Rock City 3 times at the end.
We weren't good enough for
Good
that.
night, Hot
Springs. See you next tour.
See you next tour, yeah.
I was mostly in it for the beer.
Well,
once I realized there was going to be no girls there.
The next best thing is beer, sure.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. So, so then what happened?
Let's see. I started playing in the high school jazz band.
Okay.
I learned how to read some charts, very limited, but I could read chord charts.
Okay.
And I was the only guitarist at the time,
sure,
as far as I remember.
Right.
And so the band teacher really kind of let me get away with whatever.
Okay.
As long as I would be in the band, I could go down during my study hall and practice and crank up the amp.
Yeah.
And maybe sneak out the side door and smoke cigarettes in the parking lot.
Maybe not much beer though.
No.
That's cool. Well, that's good. Could we coax a convincing jazz sound out of our Fender Stratocaster and an Ampeg V4?
Not really.
Did we even try?
So the school had a guitar, so I didn't have to bring mine to school.
Oh,
I did sometimes.
All right.
The neck pickup on a Strat will get you there.
Right.
I'm not a great jazz player by any means.
Right.
And they had a PVT-60. I don't know if you're familiar.
I am familiar.
Hideous looking guitar, but not bad sound and
heavy as hell, but amazing.
But I think they're kind of valuable these days.
They are.
And a PV Bandit. Solid state PV Bandit.
Nice.
Was the amp, yeah.
You should have been able to coax a somewhat convincing.
It was okay, but I didn't know any better.
For Gillette, Wyoming, a good jazz tone.
I didn't know what a jazz tone was.
My apologies, Gillette, Wyoming.
No, this is Wright, Wyoming. So,
Wyoming.
Yeah.
No apologies, Wright, Wyoming.
None. But I wouldn't know a good jazz tone if it hit me in the face at that time. I was just kind of doing whatever I wanted, and they would put the charts in front of me, and if I didn't know what the chord was, I would have to try to somehow look it up or find someone to teach me. And there was a janitor that worked there that played a little bit. Okay. And he knew some of the jazz chords too, so he would help out.
Sure. You always want to ask the janitors what they know.
That's right.
We probably should. I'm getting the impression you and I could talk for days, but we probably should move along. So we've talked about this. Did we buy this at Ango Music? Is that where we bought it?
that was bought from a family friend.
From a family friend.
From my mom.
Oh, okay. And I don't know if we're going to be able to see. Well, the chipboard case is behind the guitar in the shot, and a Mel Bay book. I don't know if you can see that. Also, I took a picture of it. You, 8-year-old rock star, wrote your name in the sound hole with magic marker.
I did. Purple marker.
To personalize this guitar. We love personalizations of our instrument.
You know, if I could have got away with it, I probably would have carved it into the top of the headstock.
But Mama wouldn't let you.
I don't think so.
Right. Okay. All right. So we do the rock and everything, and then at some point we moved to South Dakota, and we're in some country bands.
That's right. Yeah, I moved here. Well, I went to Casper College and had a full scholarship there to their jazz program, and I failed. I partied that away, and I wasn't really into it either. Like I said, I just wasn't that much into jazz. I appreciate a lot of it, but I wasn't that good at it.
You didn't bring the janitor along.
I should have.
Yeah, you really should have.
But I met some great friends and learned. I did learn a lot about theory there,
right?
Which a lot I don't remember now,
right?
But it was worthwhile. But I was just too. I had no discipline,
right?
And if there was something more fun than going to class, I was going to go do that. So anyhow, I dropped out of there, failed out of there, and then moved to Spearfish. After I got in a little trouble, so I had to move to Spearfish and started going at BH.
Okay.
And got into a band out of Rapid City. They were called Dust and Rocks.
Okay.
And then I played with them for a little less than a year and decided that wasn't for me either. And then a friend of mine that was in that band started Outriders, which was a country band.
Okay.
During that time, based out of Rapid City.
Sure.
And that was together for probably 6 or 7 years.
Oh wow,
maybe.
cool. Yeah.
And so we played all over, man. We played anywhere from Gillette to Pierre, Sioux Falls. We kind of had the circuit, you know. We'd play with Robbinsdale, Elk Creek, Silver Dollar, and Spearfish, and then Deadwood at the Motherlode, and that was kind of our monthly circuit.
And then Fireman's Balls all over the state of South Dakota.
Yeah, weddings in New Underwood, and you know,
all of that. So it was mostly it could be described as a country rock cover band, I'm guessing.
Very much so. We did originals. We wrote some songs, and we did have a CD at one. Time.
Cool. Yeah. So we had done some rock. And we had done some experimental jazz, janitorial jazz, we could call it. Sorry about that.
I love it.
Yeah. But we had never really lost our love for country in the meantime, had we?
Oh, no.
No. So did you have to dust off your major pentatonic skills, or was it kind of still there?
My scale work is kind of a bastardized version of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, and I didn't have a country rig either when we started that.
Sure.
And I had a Fender solid state amp, and I think a Kramer, you know, right.
Nice.
Yeah. But I was willing.
Right.
Coming out of a variety pop band, that's what I had to work with. And so I bought my first Telecaster in 92 here in town.
All right.
Great USA Tele. And then I did get a Fender Twin. Had a couple Fender Twins.
Wow.
Actually had a newer one, and then I did have a pre-CBS 65 Twin, and that was my main amp for many years with them.
With the band, pre-CBS, and Fender Twin Reverb.
Yep, and all the back problems. It was a 65. Yeah.
Wow.
That was pre-CBS, wasn't it?
So did it go to the same place that your vintage Tube Screamer went?
You know, I don't know. I had that amp completely redone by Savage in Minneapolis. I think they're in Minneapolis.
Wow. Okay.
And played for a few more years, and then I ended up not wanting to carry that around anymore, and so I sold it.
I had one. It wasn't a pre-CBS, but same story.
Yeah. I sold it and used the money to buy a Bad Cat.
Oh, hey, not bad. That's not a bad end to that story.
Yeah.
So we better talk about this gorgeous guitar in your hands.
So, I guess after having a lot of different acoustics over the years, I just never really had one that I felt was mine, that just felt really comfortable to play. I had, you know, some Martins, and I had a couple Taylors, like Gibson Country Western. I even had a Kramer Farrington. I don't know if you remember those. They looked like an electric, and they had the pointy headstock.
I do remember the Kramer Farringtons,
really.
and I know a gentleman who has one, and he has a standing invitation to be on this show. I would love to have a Kramer Farrington.
They're interesting. They don't sound that great, but plugged in, I guess they probably would. But yeah.
Right.
But anyways, I had a lot of stuff, and I played with my friend Tom Brennan, and we had an acoustic duo for many, many years. And he had a J45.
Okay.
That I really dug, and I think I was playing a Seagull at the time, or the Gibson Country Western, and I just didn't really have anything that felt so good.
Right.
And his J45 was incredible. So
this
one came up one day on Craigslist.
Oh.
In Whitewood.
Okay.
It was a Saturday, and I thought, you know what, I got to go check this thing out because I've been after one.
Right.
I could, wasn't too far away from home, so I could go play it. And I got to the guy's house, and we're very good friends now, Wayne Bay. I'm Wayne and Liz. Hello. Anyways, I think I stayed there for an hour and a half.
Right.
In his music room, and he has all these great guitars.
Wow.
Just a beautiful selection of gear, and then this, and I picked this thing up, and from the first few notes, I just like, man, that thing is me. It sounds good. And so that was seven or 8 years ago, I think. Around there, I took it home. Couldn't believe I, actually had it.
Right. Yeah.
And I actually had acquired a Martin D28 at that time too, a little before that, and I thought that was my thing, and I never picked it up again. Really, I ended up selling it because this was just the one. The one, and that's pretty much. I've been playing it ever since, and I have beat it pretty hard.
Huh? First of all, that Wayne, what's his name?
Wayne Bay.
Wayne Bay.
Yep.
I should probably get to know him and invite him on the show.
You should. He's a great guy.
And two, do we remember, not that it's super important, why he was selling it?
Because he had another one, I believe.
Oh, he had another one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think he has the John Hyatt. He's got a couple of these.
Okay, all right.
And just a lot of great stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
he knows tone.
In particularly the country band, did you ever play acoustic electric?
I didn't. We had our lead singer at the time played that exclusively, so I just had to play lead.
So you had just played acoustic in this acoustic duo.
Yep.
And you had, throughout this time, we haven't talked about, you are a songwriter to some degree.
To some.
Yeah. Had you written songs in this time, but just played them on your Kramer Farrington or whatever?
I had a few, yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the material from them ended up on that one country album.
Okay.
It's not anything I'm super proud of
at
this point. If I hear those again, it'd be too soon. So.
Oh, well, we've all got an album like that, I think. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, my point was you just really hadn't got too into acoustics until this.
Not really, yeah.
Okay.
So when I decided I, really don't have a band, so to speak, this acoustic duo seems appealing.
Right.
And Tom and I, we were good friends, and he turned me on to a lot of really cool artists and vice versa. And so we played together, and there was more opportunity for us to go do a little acoustic duo thing. And so we did it a lot. We played it at Flanagan's Irish Pub in Spearfish for many, many years.
Sure.
And Tom's a great player and singer. And so the more I did it, the more I'm like, I got to have something that makes this a little bit more invested for me.
Sure.
And this was the one.
So was it straight acoustic when you bought it, or was it acoustic electric?
It was acoustic electric.
And the system that's in it now?
Nope. I'm not sure what was in there. I think it was a Baggs Element, maybe.
Okay.
That might have came in this.
Okay.
I've tried to look it up, what these came with. This is a 2005 Gibson J45 historic collection, which basically just means it was a standard.
Sure.
At that time.
Right.
15 years ago. And so it might have been a Fishman Matrix in there. But anyways.
2005 was 15. He's right. Wow.
Carry the one. Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, I'm always chasing something.
Right.
And so I wanted something that was a little bit more warm sounding or whatever. And I'd heard good things about this, the Baggs Anthem.
The LR Baggs Anthem, yes.
And that's what I put in.
Right.
And I really dig it.
At this point, the gold standard in acoustic guitar.
I like it a lot. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I've plugged into the same DI box for 12 plus years, the Fishman Aura Spectrum.
We can talk about DI boxes. Wow, awesome.
The knobs are kind of falling off of that these days, and it's been back to the shop for repair a few times.
Okay.
But it's kind of my standard.
So
DI.
you and this Gibson and the Fishman perform quite regularly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Just as a solo acoustic act mostly these days?
That's what I'm doing now.
Okay.
I was in a band for before this year, for 3 years out of Spearfish.
Okay.
Called My Second Rodeo.
Okay.
And that was Garrett Holtz, Cody Nebb, and my son Jackson was on the drums.
Okay.
And then Jackson moved, and so we just kind of disbanded, and I started playing solo again.
So, is there anything else that we need to talk about? Any other? Did we have a Echoplex at any point that we sold accidentally?
Not an original, but I did. I don't know. When I was in high school, I flipped burgers, and I did a little ranch work as a city kid and tried to save up money, and I did buy a Gibson Les Paul Custom.
Okay.
When I was a sophomore or a junior, and I was awfully proud of that.
Right.
And then I ended up selling that after I moved to South Dakota. I mentioned that I got in a little trouble, and so I needed some money. And anyways, I ended up selling it for pretty cheap, and I'm a little disappointed that I still don't have that guitar.
Okay.
But it was super heavy too.
Sure.
Man, what a tank.
So would this would have been like late 70s, early 80s?
It was at 86, yeah.
In 86.
Mm-hmm.
Was it brand new?
Yeah.
Okay. So would have been a Norland era Les Paul or not?
Not really sure.
We're nerding out pretty hard now.
Yeah, I didn't.
Apologize.
I was maybe.
But it's heavy, and you do wish you had it back. Do you know where it went?
I think I sold it to a guy in Black Hawk.
Okay.
This was 1990 or 91.
Okay.
So it's, the details are pretty fuzzy, as they are with me all the time.
Maybe we should ask Wayne. Bay?
Maybe.
Was that his name? He might know.
I don't know if he knows.
Okay, maybe not. Do you have a song for us?
I do.
All right.
I could play a little something. It's a little
perfect.
A little chilly in here, but I'll try to play something. What do you want me to play? Something? Just
do the best you can.
Just noodle or sing a song or what?
Kind of dealer's choice, I think, after I do my little thing here.
Okay.
What's my little... Oh, yeah, I'm talking to myself again. Remember my sponsorship with Trask Hay LLC, large, round, and square bales, and more importantly, custom haying operation. We've had a little rain this fall. You may have hay crop next year. Call Joe 605-515-0858. The janitor in Wright, Wyoming says, change your strength. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Guthmiller.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being on the show, buddy. Next week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I guess we don't have nobody to shut the camera off. We forgot to talk about all the stickers. But that's okay.
Oh yeah, we should have got this one on there so that people could.
Well, I like the other one, the other story better. I had a stroke when I was a baby. And we didn't know that until I was 22. But I was born with it, anterior venous.